going at it. In fact, Mekon in the lead, mere seconds, and we got 10 arrows right out of Link's house. While we got, let's see what we got. Oh, we got a book. Oh my gosh. Are we going to get that pet check like now?
Already the divergence is insane between these runners, going the open mode, Link's house to Uncle, we can presume, route versus the Sanctuary to Houlihan situation that's going on Michael K's screen.
The classic, carry a sign for far longer than you would ever do in the normal game, just to kill a guard to get the tier 1 tree pull and see that it is a full magic decanter. So if we find some sort of magical based item soon, then we can take advantage of that tree pull. But for now, nothing but rupees back here in the secret passageway. Mekon picking up his first bomb, but that is not going to be enough to send him into the rest of the escape sequence.
Yeah, I think without a more reliable weapon, or at least, 10 bombs, it's not really such a great idea to be jumping in there. Enough rupees coming out of the Link's house to Uncle route that I think our runners are going to be just fine in Kakariko for doing what they need to do. But definitely the Houlihan play, going to give Michael a bit more bombs, a bit more money to work with. I'm sorry, making sure that he's going to get that bottle vendor check.
Now, this is a very interesting route that we're seeing from PKR and Michael. The fact that they're both playing as the Inkling sprite and then, doing some sort of similarities in routings mean maybe they talked about their strats before this race. Maybe a little bit of like mentor tutor kind of thing. Or maybe it's because there's many people in this race and there's only so many different routes you could take at the beginning. But I like this route of buying bombs from the Lake Hylia shop and going straight over to Saha's route, because players will often put that off until like the very last. It's like they'll do that, then they'll do like Agana's Cave or whatever. Maybe sequence break up Death Mountain.
Now, I could not see. Solsky actually checked the Lumberjack's Cave. I could not see with his crop what was in there. I don't know if you were able to catch it.
I did not, but we did catch the boots and a bottle in the back of Sahasrala's hut. So nearly vanilla boots, nearly. But we are going to get a pedestal check from Mekon. It is 3 bombs, just 3 bombs, guys. So 2 minutes and 28 seconds in, and that pedestal is dead. So if you were here for that, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, no, I do believe, so PKR is actually going to go into Eastern right now, which is probably the most interesting choice you could make right now, especially having just gotten those boots. But I don't know. I mean, this is if this pays out for, it's pretty cool.
It's kind of one of those plays where it's like, all right, I know I can get through. I have the boots now, so if people put off Sahasrala, then they're not going to have the boots. So I can do this, a thing, Eastern Palace being a place that people are generally going to save for later. I can do it a lot faster now anyway, so I might and I have the execution to back me up. So I can make these slower checks, but still do it like in a it's not going to hurt her overall, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
And especially if she ends up finding something here. And we can already see that Kakariko is not really holding too much. We got a shovel, we got bombos. We did get a hammer. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that hammer is a pretty potent item.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Okay, so doing actually just the very front Eastern before bailing. So that might have just been a little bit of. She didn't want to fully dip the dungeon. She just wanted kind of a little bet hedge there.
Well, I believe she got 2 of the 3 items in there. So going all the way out for the last item, which could easily just be on Armos Knights, didn't seem worth it, which makes perfect sense.
So PKR is still putting off Kakariko, gonna go do South Shore first, which, I mean, given that she has the boots, not a bad choice at all.
And we didn't really get too much in Kakariko other than like some weaponry and some other options. We did see a sword in Mini Moldering Cave, so that's going to speed up some other stuff. Boots plus sword is a nice advantage as well, being able to dash through multiple enemies. PKR got to be a little bit careful here, down to half a heart. And these Mini Molderons are kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, they are.
That stinks. All right, let's see what we got going on in Ice Rod Cave. I'm going to assume that we're going to see the nice little water walk glitch from Michael K. He might save and quit out. Oh, okay. So this is nice. Basically, when you dash right along either of these two edges in this cave, right along the pitfall, you kind of do... I don't know exactly how it works, but you kind of mess with the game, and now he has a stored water walk to allow him to walk on top of the water without having flippers or moon pearl or any of those fancy stuff. Now with this fake flipper he's setting up, he has now stored that water walk, which is going to allow him to... Let's see what he does. Oh, yeah. I like this. I really like this. I mean, I would... If he had moon pearl, you could even like go as far as to get the item off of the Zor ledge, but this way he's going to be able to go check Hobo, then hop in the water to run all the way back down to save a little bit of time.
So the interesting thing, he actually can get the ledge item, but he has to fake flipper swim all the way to the ledge. So
it's a little risky.
More than a little, but I mean, it is doable, and he will have the opportunity, you know, to swim right by there. But it looks like he's not going to be doing that because he's just hopping off. He opted not to rearm the fake flipper there. Now,
we did see the shovel that we found in Kakariko led to the power gloves. So for Mikan, he is a moon pearl away from that Dark World access. And I'd easily put it, based on what we know now, I would easily put it in Desert Palace, especially with that early book.
Yeah, I mean, we've got all the, well, almost all of the necessary business to get in there.
Well, that's interesting. Finding a mirror in Waterfall Cave. Of course, this is a sequence break. We don't have, the flippers yet. So mirror locked by flippers. Of course, we haven't seen the Dark World yet, but do we really have all 3 Light World pendant dungeons?
I believe we do.
No. Okay,
no.
Sorry.
Misery Mire is the green pendant. But
I forgot about talking to Sahasrah. That's a good call. All right, well, that means that Swamp Palace could very well be a crystal, and therefore that mirror could be required.
I'm kind of curious to see, once more of our runners end up with that glove, I'm interested to see who goes up to Death Mountain first. It's a sequence break at the moment, but with the hook shot, it's a pretty lucrative one, if they're willing to keep track of it. So.
Wait, where was Hookshot?
Hookshot, I believe, was, I want to say it was somewhere in the South Shore, right?
Chat, where was Hookshot? Yeah. I missed it. Oh, it was right there. It was in Mini Molar Cave right next to the sword. I was so busy looking at the sword, I didn't see it. All right, that's cool. Well, yeah, I would definitely make that Death Mountain sequence break at this point. Because it could be something as simple as go to desert to find the lamp to go up to Death Mountain, or go to desert to find the flute to go up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It'd be safe to make that assumption, to just kind of skip that step and go straight up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only real risk, right, is that we're going to end up finding that moon pearl in the desert area, or alternatively, looking at my brain not working, looking at finding a flute somewhere in the desert area, which would save you just that little bit of extra time, especially if we also found the lamp over there and could actually just finish Desert Palace. That would be pretty epic.
So I'm curious, did Silsky... Okay, he's going to go check Shovel now. I guess he must have saved and quit after Maze Race, or routed something differently. Because usually if you're coming from North Kakariko and you find the shovel, then you'll just go ahead and grab the dig spot along the way. Of course, if he came from the south and went north, then I could see him missing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on, which way you want to get to South Shore. I mean, it is faster if you're going to go over there and check the Maze Race item to just save and quit and walk down from Link's house. I think PKR and Michael having those boots, they might have, had they had them at the time, well, PKR does, so we'll see what she does. She might actually opt to just dash over there, but I don't blame Solsky for, doing something a little bit different there.
I do.
You blame him?
Yeah.
Wow, you are just rude.
I did forget about the whole escape sequence. Nothing going on here in the back, but looks like Mikan's going to go ahead and take that small key and kind of just tunnel his way through the dark rooms to check that sewer chest in the middle.
Yeah,
Kind of
they're not too bad.
He does have a sword, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think once you get the small key from this rat over here, you're pretty safe if you know the rooms.
Stolsky following close behind. So yeah, our options right now, we still have potentially one more item left in Eastern Palace that we could find prior to needing Lamper bow. We could sequence break up to Death Mountain. Of course, that requires, which would require like Lamp or the flute to get up there. So it's either going to be the front half of Escape or it's going to be something in Desert Palace. That's kind of all really we have left. Of course, with that glove in hand, that does put Zora into the mix, which is a frightful thing to even consider. But, you know, it's not too bad. All you got to do is go into Eastern Palace and get the 300 rupees that are in there. Easy, right?
Super duper easy peasy.
PKR picking up her gloves. So, and I would assume Michael K is going to be following up pretty closely behind. So, those boots, pretty huge advantage.
Oh, baby.
What do we find?
There was a bow in the dark there
baby.
on Solsky's screen.
Well, I'm guessing both these Mikon and Solsky are going to go ahead to Eastern Palace right away.
So they've both got it. Or wait, maybe not. We need confirmation on Mikon's inventory, I think.
They do both have it, because Mikon does have it equipped currently.
Well, there you go.
But he is going to go ahead and just finish out the rest of Escape, because, of course, this is all still out of sequence. And it's one of those things, one of the style of play. It's like, all right, you know, I like sequence breaking. It gives me more information about the seed and allows me to skip some requirements. But at the same time, if you go down that rabbit hole too long, it could kind of lead you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, getting that bow out of the dark chest and Escape here. I mean, that's about all you could hope for out of that particular sequence break. That's a pretty amazing find for the run.
Oh, for sure. The only unfortunate thing about Mikon is that he will be the last player on the restream to get those boots. But who knows? He might find something of equal value coming up here. We haven't actually seen if the boots are required yet, but that almost leads me to believe that there's something valuable in Desert Palace. Despite it being a pendant, there might be something sitting on that torch.
I mean, I think with this many early pendants in the White World, I mean, you've got to assume that, you know, they're not empty, right? There's something going on there, and we're going to end up in there. I would argue that the boots are entirely necessary, and what they're necessary for is fun.
That's true.
So fortunately, our runners will all be having fun today.
Man, I can't wait
being able to move fast
for Mikon to start having fun. He doesn't look like he's having much fun based on your standards right now, but I'm looking forward to when he finally heads over to Sahasrara and starts having fun.
Absolutely.
It's going to be great. All right, well, we do have a little bit more divergence. Michael K going to be heading into the desert area as well as checking Agnes Cave. We did see a mushroom in Zelda's cell. Now, we don't know what that leads to, but heck, it could just be something as simple as mushroom to Moon Pearl, or mushroom to Mitts, or mushroom to Flute.
Yeah, now let me ask you a question, Lord. What do you think about Michael K making the play into Agnes Cave before diving into Desert? Personally, I like it on the off chance that you find a fire source in there.
Yep. A lot of times I'll go into Desert, and then if I go in there without the ability to complete it, I'll just hop off the right side and go check Agnes Cave right afterwards. But in this case, where we're just missing one item that we need to actually complete the dungeon, it's worth it. But at the same time, with it being a pendant, I think just going straight in and bailing. Well, there you
go.
And there's the third item in Eastern Palace. Just a bomb capacity upgrade. So the answer was booked to Desert, and of course, with that flute being there, the boots are required to actually complete this dungeon. Now, it is a pendant still.
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume we're gonna find that lamp up on maybe Spectacle Rock or something along those lines.
I mean, we might just find it here on right side as well.
Entirely possible.
I think worst case scenario for these players is that this Desert Palace has an item on Land Molas, because that's one of those things. It's like, once you get a fire source, do you go back and finish it, or do you just put it off forever and hope it's nothing?
Yeah, it's a really, really hard call to make. I mean, I think the upshot here, really, it's actually the downside now that I remind myself of what's in there. With Meyer being the green pendant, that ends up being even a little bit less enticing than it ordinarily would be. So, yeah, it's a pretty brutal choice to make to go back in there.
All right, well, there's the Moon Pearl.
Yeah.
So that is 2 very important items, and of course, Moon Pearl being locked by the boots. So you had to go to Sahasrara's hut first to get the boots before going to Desert and making that play. So PKR, our first player with Dark World access, still hasn't been to Mini Moldorm Cave, surprisingly. So does not have that sword or hook shot. On the flip side of things, Solsky, our first player to acquire their first crystal from Armos Knights, with Mikon following closely behind, while Michael K acquires both the flute and the Moon Pearl. So now the interesting thing is, when is PKR Michael going to go to escape? Because now with Dark World access, you're less likely to go there, in my opinion.
Yeah, they've got a tremendous amount of world open to them, and we know they're not going to find, for example, the there's no. God, the question I'm worried about where we're going to find mitts, because if we find mitts, early in Dark World, that's just going to open up so much of the world that, considering going into escape for that bow, I mean that's going to be way, way, way down their priority list.
It's certainly the interesting thing about Randomizer is, one simple decision could change so much about your route. Whether you go straight for, all the dungeons, or you have the ability to full clear all the overworld or whatnot.
For sure.
So interesting to see what we find up here on Death Mountain. Now, unfortunately for PKR, without that hook shot from Mini Moldorm Cave, as a chat reminds me, we did see PKR take a death in there, which is why she has not been back to get her sword and hook shot. She's going to be a little bit limited up here with her check. She's only going to be able to get, 2 items and eyes on a third?
Yeah.
But now,
looks like the dark room in the back of Eastern maybe got away from Mikon a little bit. It's one of those rooms where if you get it right off the bat, it's pretty easy. If you kind of let it drift and get away from you a little bit, it can become a nightmare pretty quickly. So he did a smart thing, bailed out. He's going to go grab some fairies and make sure that he can have a better chance of making it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is his second time he's bailed out to go get fairies. So I find that the easiest thing to do is just kind of face up and just hold your sword out, and then just sidestep left and right until you can connect with... Oh, look, there. First try. There you go. Connect with that Armos... Or Igor? Yeah.
Igor, yeah. So PKR actually went up to Death Mountain, only unlocked the save point, immediately fluted away. Looks like it's going to go dive the Dark World down here.
All right, so it looks like our Pyramid Fairy Crystals are going to be Thieves Town and Turtle Rock. Of course, Thieves Town is completable as soon as we get... Yeah, right now with that hammer. And, well, hammer makes it fully clearable without having to worry about leaving something behind. Turtle Rock, we're gonna be needing a few more things before we can head there, and a little bit of a disappointing hype cave from the looks of it.
Yeah, massive.
But
on that mushroom, which is nice. Solsky does not. He's having feelings.
I believe Mikon also picked up that mushroom, so he'll be getting his Master Sword as well. It's funny, we got Solsky with Master Sword, and PKR still without her first sword.
Yeah, the death in Mini Moldorm Cave definitely appears to be taking a toll, unfortunately.
It's one of those things, and I've seen it happen so much, where you commit to something, fail, and then change that plan and not go back to it, and then it has something important. I've seen it happen so many times, like, oh, I'm just going to go full right in GT, and then you die in that long hallway with like the 2 fire bars and the spikes and stuff, and you're like, I'm just going to go full left. And then it's in Bob's chest, and you're like, come on, please.
And you say it exactly like that, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Okay, we've got a Quake medallion on the Zora ledge. We already have 2 medallions aside from that one, so
You know we're gonna need
odds
that
are in
one.
our runners. Well, I mean, we're gonna. Statistically, we shouldn't, but we will.
Solsky's sitting with a beautiful, perfect 500. Let's see what he gets for his time. $500 bombs. There you go.
The value. Those are some good bombs,
Good
let me
bombs.
tell you. Yeah.
Expensive bombs. All right, well, we got some Village of Outcasts from Michael K. I'm going to assume he'll hop into Thieves Town and go complete it. It's a little spooky when you got just green mail and just a fighter's sword for dealing with some of the enemies. But he does have a hook shot if he wants to like stun some enemies to get around him.
I think this is one of those things where, depending on, you know, how confident you are in your execution, I mean, realistically, you don't actually need to kill pretty much anything in that dungeon. You know, the question is whether you know that and whether you're comfortable playing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like Solsky's taking advantage of a nice little rupee farm here in between the dam area and Desert Palace. Underneath this rock, you can just keep on farming rupees over and over. I'm assuming he wants to have enough for later on. There's some situations where he's going to need rupees, such as getting into Palace of Darkness, as well as some of the minigames inside and outside Village of Outcast. So smart of him to go ahead and grab those. He has no idea if he's going to find any more rupees along the way, so might as well do that now. But he will be getting his flute and his moon pearl once he dives into Desert Palace.
Yeah, now in Solsky's situation, because he has that bow, it'll be interesting to see how quickly he heads potentially into Palace of Darkness. You know, not really an option or an attractive option for PKR or Michael at the moment, but for Solsky and Mikon, it's going to be potentially pretty good looking. So the only, I think, mitigating. I was just gonna say, I think the only mitigating factor is that they've already been in Eastern. You know, so the value of the region is a little bit lower, but Pod still has a tremendous number of items in it. So
I feel like PKR is more likely going to be heading that direction as well. Maybe not without the bow, but she will be getting the mirror here pretty soon. And a lot of times, you know, if you have the mirror, you're like, okay, I'll just go ahead and dive Pod, and then I can go back and finish Eastern. But without that bow, that's probably not going to happen. She really needs to go back into Mini Moldorm Cave, and because we still have yet to see East Death Mountain, and I have a good feeling that we might be seeing that from Solsky here, or we might just see it from Mikon right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised that PKR didn't. Well, oh no, she didn't have the hook shot. That's why. I keep forgetting she did not get that out of that room. Yeah, that hook shot. I mean, there's a tremendous volume of items on the other side of that hook shot. So this is going to be interesting for sure.
I'm a little worried for Mikon right now because I have a feeling he's kind of in one of those mindsets where he's going to try and put off Desert as long as he can until he finds a fire source, just to increase the opportunity of him, you know, getting all the items and clearing the dungeon. Which, who knows, we might find the lamp up here immediately, and it could just be one of those situations where you go in the desert to get the flute to go get the lamp. Both items, fortunately for the other players, being in the beginning half of Desert means you don't, of course, need that lamp or a fire source, but I don't know. And at the same time, it's one of those things that maybe other players, since they have Dark World access, will put off East Death Mountain for a little bit longer. So he could find some sort of advantageous item up here, but it's not looking too good yet, unless, well, he's got some money.
Yeah, PKR looking like she's back up here. Good board.
Wow. Well, there's the Titan mitts.
Okie dokie.
So that is a very good. I don't know. Okay, now I'm a little worried.
Yeah, agreed. I think that with those Titan's mitts, that bow is now way, way, way down on PKR's priority list.
She already checked. She has her mirror, which she got from Waterfall Cave, and I believe she already checked the pyramid, so it's not like she can go to the pyramid mirror and then do like the escape sequence or anything like that.
And still swordless. Yeah, that makes a few of these Death Mountain checks a little bit, well, substantially less fun per our discussion earlier. Certainly Spiral Cave, you would love to have actually either a sword or a hookshot. Either of the things that she does not have.
Okay, so I just reconfirmed that Mikan found the flippers on Ether Tablet. So once you get that Master Sword from the mushroom, you can get the flippers, and that leads you to the mirror, which also leads you into Swamp Palace. So I don't know. I got this strange suspicion the Swamp Palace can have something important.
That's you're paranoid. Clearly there's nothing in Swamp. We should put it off for as long as possible. Nobody should ever go in a swamp.
Swamp's a great place.
There's nothing in there. I've been led to believe that the strategy for Randomizer is to check the places that have the items. And so, the real question is whether Swamp Palace actually contains anything good. And we can't know that.
It's a brilliant strat. I'll have to consider that for the future.
I've spent a lot of time discussing it. It's pretty powerful. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, okay. How much is this? Is this like a subscription based thing, or like you sub to it and every month you kind of get like pamphlets or something that kind of leads you in that direction? Is this like a fellowship kind of thing? Like we're gonna go throw a ring into a volcano? I'd like to learn more. I'm getting off topic. But yes, I'll send you a DM. I want to hear more about this randomizer strat.
Great. I'll be happy to explain it to you in greater detail later.
Absolutely. We did, of course, I just want to confirm I wanted to confirm it with my own 2 eyeballs that was, in fact, Samaria on the floating island. So Death Mountain, a lot of value coming up.
Meanwhile, Michael K clearly should be your friend because he also apparently likes to do this ludicrous disco mode blind fight for no reason or benefit whatsoever.
The time loss is worth it. I mean, and here's the thing. If it's like a Pendant Thieves town, you could just book it. You could just go right through the front door like it never happened. Well, it still happened, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but if you're taking blind into like underneath the spotlight and you hit select, like right as she hits her stop, where she turns into the boss, it changes the colors of the room, and it's really, really silly. If you do it like too early, it does like that weird like GoldenEye style like black circle around you, or like when you're praying in front of Desert Palace.
I love that your first way of explaining that is to compare it to the like gun barrel effect from GoldenEye.
Yeah. It paints a picture like immediately. Come on.
You're an artist. I appreciate you.
All right, so with all that stuff going, so we have a lot of information as now. We know how to get stuff. Basically, just to recap, is that PKR and Michael K need to go into Eastern Palace. Well, technically, they need to find the lamp, because the lamp is kind of holding all the secrets right now. But we do know that mushroom in Zelda's cell, in the front half of Escape, leads to a Master Sword, and Master Sword leads to the flippers leads to the mirror, and I can only assume that the mirror is going to lead to something else. Maybe Graveyard Ledge has something. I don't know if we've seen that one yet.
I mean, I'm with the mitts available where they are, I'm kind of thinking Checkerboard Cave.
Ooh.
Is going to be interesting. I think when you look at, how many items block it, what we've gotten so far, I think that's potentially lucrative.
I could say that. Speaking of lucrative, we did get these silver arrows from the Flute Kid in the Dark World.
Those things are useless. I'd melt them down and sell them.
It's a nice find. Also, confirmation that Quake Medallion is required for Turtle Rock, so those flippers from Ether Tablet will lead you to the Quake Medallion to get inside inside T-Rock. So, okay, all right. Mushroom, Master Sword, flippers, mirror, Samaria, Quake Medallion. It's all coming together.
I love it when a plan comes together. This is actually, I mean, the world is getting pretty open pretty fast. I mean, there's very little that we don't actually, I'm not sure there's much of anything that we don't have access to in aggregate at this point, or know where we're going to get access to it. This could potentially be pretty quick. I think really It's gonna be. Oh,
Is that an ice rod or a fire rod? Sometimes it's hard to tell.
that's a great question.
That is an ice rod. All right. Well, we know for the most part this is not going to be an ice rod go mode seed. I am going to be looking forward to seeing what else is in Hookshot Cave. Could you imagine if it had both ice rod, fire rod, and then Canis Samaria on the floating island?
Wow, that would be
Perfect.
Even I would get incredibly hyped for that. That would be pretty amazing.
So one thing that I am certainly worried about for Mikon's sake is he did go up to Death Mountain. I have to wait and see for him to pause again. I don't know if he ended up picking up those Titan Mids from Spectacle Cave.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he did. Solsky, by the way, was doing some really impressive bonk-based RNG manip there. So I think that he's looking to influence the path that bird outside of Meyer takes later in the game. So we'll see if that works. It is now.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
There's our third sword here in Meyer Shed. So we have a sword there, we have a sword in Mini Moldorn Cave, and we have a sword behind Mushroom in the Witch's Hut. So there you go.
Combined with those silvers, easy game, easy life.
Still looking for that lamp.
All right, I want to see this checkerboard cave.
Is it lamp? Just money.
That's unfortunate.
Now, I have a feeling that this is finally going to be that trip back to Mini Moldorn Cave where PKR is going to get her other sword, her Master Sword,
yeah, she
as
might
well
be
as her Hookshot.
She might be kicking herself a little bit here after this.
She's even going to bring out the Ether just to make him super dead, which I totally get. Honestly, that's kind of quicker.
Oh, it's unquestionably quicker than certainly bombs, and even setting up with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, now the real question is she going to go back up to Death Mountain anytime soon? Now that she knows where the flippers are, assuming, yeah, because she popped into Tower Fair, she saw the flippers up there, so she knows about that location. But man, I'm almost certain that Bo is probably going to be her and Michael's go mode just because of the nature of that location.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I don't want to say dumb, but I mean, in their situation, that is going back into Escape to go get that chest is such a hard decision to make. Yeah, it's just, I mean, they have everything else in the universe available to them. They've got dungeons with, tons of items coming up logically for them soon. That's a really, really tough thing to do.
Now, this might be that sword water walk I was talking about earlier to get the item off of Zora's ledge. Coming up right now. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, smartly skipping. Did she actually check Zora earlier? No, I don't think so. Maybe she did, but
I would assume so. She's found a lot of rupees.
It's true. Either way, smart of her to skip talking to Zora there. If you accidentally pick up the item, you're potentially a little bit screwed.
It's pretty easy to check the item without actually picking it up, though. So if she did skip it, then she's crazy.
Also agreed.
All right. I don't know if we've seen King's Tomb yet, but it has bombs. And I'm still surprised we haven't seen the other players picking up Titan's mids. I do like seeing Mikon and Solsky basically neck and neck. Let's see who has the better second half of this dungeon now. Mikon getting kind of slowed down a little bit by his lack of firepower, with Solsky having a slightly more upgraded sword. And a nice change of pace for PKR heading into Ice Palace. Of course, this is a crystal. It needs to be completed. She has the Bombos medallion, so she can clear all of it, as well as the, hammer, hookshot, Samaria. All the bases are covered. The only thing that's going to be a little bit challenging is doing a Master Sword Cold Stare, but I have faith.
With 11 hearts, I think not that scary. Definitely if you're comfortable with the fight, this is a pretty manageable situation so long as you don't take too much damage in the dungeon beforehand. Solsky was trying to go for some hammer dashes on blind, which
He
doesn't.
said he said he was gonna meme a bit, but it might be his demise. He's got one more hit, but this is not a comfortable place to be right now. He's got it. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
The
so
clutch.
I mean, I respect to Solsky. Those were some hella good dodges.
Yeah, they looked pretty good. You might want to, try. Maybe you could use some like life lessons from him.
I'm good, actually. I don't
I don't know. Well, I don't want to get into. This.
I don't need to be living that life. I don't need to be living that. Oh, you're a jerk. I may or may not have died to blind like 5 times the other day.
It's one of those things where like you
I was
die
real
once,
sad about it.
You're gonna die like 4 times. It's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it was not good.
All right, well, here's the thing. What is the next big piece of this puzzle? Now, of course, we've got a lot of items. We still have no idea where that lamp is. I could easily see it just being like first chest of pod or something stupid. Could even be. Could it be here in Ice Palace? I guess.
I mean, I think it's possible.
But yeah, I think right now the last item we're looking for, aside from the lamp, is the fire rod. That's it. We've seen everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, saying we're looking for the lamp right now is a bit disingenuous because, I mean, we don't care.
I'm curious. I care. I want to know. I want to know what the seed actually wanted them to do.
I mean, you know what they say about
sequence breakers. Tisk tisk.
You know what they say about curiosity, Willard.
What?
It's an important thing in life, and it's good to be curious and stay curious. And
Oh, yeah.
that's what they say about it.
Okay.
There's nothing else
Alright.
that they would ever say.
We did find the cane of Berna, so there is the other cane here in Ice Palace. Tis no lamp, tis no Farad, but is looking more and more like that bow is going to be the icebreaker for PKR.
I think the
For sure.
Farad sounds like the best item from a knockoff Lord of the Rings ever.
Farad.
Yeah, when Aragorn wields the Farad,
He would do that.
he would. Yeah, he would totally wield the Farad.
All right, we got our first, what looks like Palace of Darkness play from Solsky. It is a crystal dungeon. It has 5 items. It does require the lamp for a good portion of it. And it is a dungeon that they've had access to as soon as they could get into the Dark World. So, and this could easily be a scenario where you are, by logic, forced to do a double dip to find the lamp, to then go get the bow, to then come back and finish pod. I'd love to see lamp in the first chest or something, because that would be even more straight up. Yeah, take this and go to this cave. It's cool, whatever.
I love when that happens. My favorite thing is when you get progression that you need to come back later in the that very first chest on the left of Turtle Rock. When you go without the fire rod, that chest is just fantastic.
And that may or may not be the last item in Ice Palace. I would assume not. Otherwise, PKR would not be checking more chests. There is the last item in Ice Palace. All right.
And what an item.
What a great item. So this will be a dungeon that players will get to go mode at some point, assuming they route accordingly. I like this play regardless, just because anytime I have bombos before Fire Rod, I'm like, well, Fire Rod's a nice Palace. Every time.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
So pod was in fact bow locked. So definitely having that bow from that early sequence break proving to be pretty good for Solsky here, and going to be good for Mekon momentarily.
So this is going to be particularly interesting because that means that the entirety of Palace of Darkness is locked behind a lamp.
That is correct.
Which doesn't really say much, because lamp is one of those easily sequence breakable items. The thing is, these players would still like to find a lamp. I mean, at least just having a fire source would be nice for, Misery Mire, to make that a little bit more valuable, even if it is a green pendant. PKR's got to be a little bit careful here. A death to Cold Stare is kind of a run ender.
Unfortunately,
if you're vying for that top 10 or like top pedestal placement or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, fortunately, she knows the very slow but kind of infinitely safe strat here, which is if you hug the top wall, the falling ice in particular will not damage you. You can still 100% die to the puffs, but you don't have to worry about the falling ice. You can kind of hang out up here and just try and get some spins off safely. Very slow, but will keep you alive.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the thing I see a lot of players taking unnecessary deaths is usually just a lack of patience. Yes, it is. There's a timer. Yes, you're trying to go fast. Yes, you're racing other people, but especially for situations like Master Sword Ganon, like you just gotta be patient. You just gotta take these things slow because you're gonna lose more time dying or falling to Ganon than you are just being slow at the fight.
Yeah, I don't think there's a dungeon in this game where a death to a boss in a retry is not way slower than the slow version of the fight. So, definitely more important to stay alive and keep the run going than anything else. Because the exception might be like Ganon.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth it just to walk right into him and reset the fight if you want to. Like, even if you're like going into the fight with like 2 hearts, you're like, no, I could use a few more. I'm gonna just walk right into him and then reset the fight since it puts you right back on top of Pyramid. So it's really not that much time loss overall.
Yeah. So Pod not giving us the goods just yet. We still got a few more chests. Man, if we find the Fire Rod in here, Solsky and Mikon are taking off, like a rocket here because.
Of course, I mean, the nice thing about... Well, here's the thing. If the Fire Rod isn't locked by Mitts, then they're going to be doing pretty good.
That's true. Although, I mean, you got to assume Death Mountain is in their future.
Yeah.
Maybe less so for Mikon, because I think he was up there, and we believe he skipped it. But I don't think Solsky has put himself into that situation.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about with Mikon is he still hasn't gotten his sword upgrade from the mushroom, and he might never at this point. So, his sword upgrade might be from Meyer's Shed, but I'm also worried that he did go up to Death Mountain, but just never checked Spec Cave. I'm not quite 100% sure why. We did see also another stored water rock from Michael K to get this Quake Medallion. So nice little time save. So let's do a little bit of a recap. Let's recap this baby. So Titan Mitts are in Spectacle Cave. We have Canis Maria on Floating Island. We have the Flippers on Ether Tablet. We have the bow in the Dark Sewer Chest in Escape. And Mir was in Waterfall Cave. The only thing we're still kind of looking for is the lamp, and especially looking for is the Fire Rod. I almost said it. I could easily see Dude, imagine Fire Rod like in Misery Mire or something.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Again, some people like to think a lot about sort of the spheres, and you have to kind of wonder when you've got multiple pieces of progression that block a location. There's a theory that says sometimes those locations are a bit more valuable. Misery Mire is a sort of particularly high value location in that regard. It's got a number of progression items that restrict access to it. So.
All right, well, we're getting some new visuals today, some new locations checked. Pink Kitty Rose did pick up her Flippers, and she's using that Cane of Burner that she did find in Ice Palace to go check Spike Cave, and we get a big 20.
Red, but not the right red.
I can see players putting off Mire. It is a Pendant Dungeon. It's green. It is a green Pendant Dungeon, but going in there with 0 fire source is a risky play just because of 2 items being blocked by those fire sources, and that could easily be, the big key. Or the amount of times I've seen Lamp lead to Fire Rod in Mire is too dang high.
It's true. I do think we're about to get a Swamp Palace check, though.
Is it a check or a dive, or is it the play?
I think it's I think it's
Vamos.
well, I think, you know, it's going to be a little bit of both. But no, I mean, we have to do Swamp Palace anyway. So I think it makes a lot of sense. It's more than a dip. It's a bit more than a dive.
I think it's way more than a check. That was the main point I want to get across.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Okay. Another big 20 from Bombo's tablet. So that Ether tablet was valuable. That book was valuable for getting into Desert Palace in general. Yeah, that was the only way you could get into Desert Palace, since Flute was within the dungeon itself. And we are going to get Swamp Palace. Of course, there's 6 items in this dungeon. It is the very infamous left side swamp conundrum, a location that players will oftentimes skip by choice. And we'll see if that location comes into play. Of course, PKR is still looking for more than just the Fire Rod. She's still looking for that bow, which we already know is not going to be in Swamp. So when you're looking for more than one item, I feel like you're more inclined to go ahead and full clear a dungeon, even if it is as painstakingly annoying as Left Side Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing that everybody likes to skip Left Side Swamp because it is faster if you can skip it. But if you are going to end up full clearing the whole dungeon, the fastest way to do it is by doing left side first and stealing the key with the hook shot. So it's always an interesting choice to make, because if you are going to full clear it, you save time by just full clearing it.
It's also shocking that we're only 46 minutes in, and Solsky has picked up his 3rd crystal. Has PK really not been into Thieves Town yet at all?
Yeah, I don't think she has been. You know, it's interesting looking at the situation here too, because we've got 2 sets of runners, both potentially going to get trolled by very different things. Thankfully, Solsky heading up to Death Mountain now, so I'm expecting he'll be getting the stuff up here that he's going to need. And I highly doubt that he's going to miss out on those mitts on this trip up. So that'll be big for Solsky.
And Mikon does successfully make it through Dark Pod to get to the Helm of Fight. And with Silver Arrows in hand, this fight will go down pretty cleanly. We did see our Tunic upgrade was in Graveyard Ledge, which only our top left and bottom right players have acquired. Graveyard Ledge is just one of those spots that is kind of a pain to route in, unless you're like routing in with checking like King's Tomb without mitts or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is that Death Mountain play, and it looks like Solsky is going to go far right. So he will be picking up his Samaria. He'll be getting eyes on the requirement for T-Rock. He'll get his Ice Rod, and we will get to see more of Hookshot Cave, though I believe we've already seen all of it based on what Michael K is holding, since he has the Ice Rod, and I believe he already had the Hookshot by then, so.
Yeah.
Gonna safely assume it was nothing.
You know, just to point this out to everybody, I think it's really interesting looking at this race, because if you look at the diagonals here, you've really got 2 separate schools of thought here about how to run this game. You know, minor differences aside, PKR and Michael K clearly thinking very similarly about a lot of things, and Solsky and Mikon playing relatively similarly. Mikon, thank goodness, about to go get his yeah, there you go. About to go get those Titans mitts, but it's always just so interesting to me to look at, you know, kind of the different thought processes that go in to playing this game. 2 very, very different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, there's the people that play like just straight up efficiently, so they're like, all right, I'm gonna check overworld, and then I'll dive the dungeon, whatever has the most chest density. There's also people that play based on the spheres, like, okay, I got this item, where does that item, what item, like, what's the next item in this chain of items that I find? And then there's the whole argument of overworld versus dungeon diving, where we've had variances in the versions where sometimes overworld is stronger than the other. And then we have Left Side Swamp, which so far has held a map. Now let's see what the other item is. Is this the Fire Rod? It is not, but it is the big key, which is going to work out routing-wise for PKR. I believe she already has the compass as well. I think that was in the first chest, maybe. So
I think, yeah, I believe that was in the bombable wall chest. So everything should be potentially lucrative stuff from here on out, I believe.
Solsky picking up his flippers, and he'll go ahead and dive into Tower of Hera. I believe we've only seen maybe the first 2 items in here and nothing else. It'd be pretty hilarious if Fire Rod was just sitting like right on Moldorn. And at this point, of course, it's interesting because all 3 of the Pendant Dungeons could technically be locked by a fire source. Well, Desert and Mire for sure are, just because of the Dark Rooms. Tower of Hera could be if the big key was in the basement, which I believe was the case. So that's really wacky. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, chat, pointed out as well, just so everybody's clear, Hera is fire source locked. So PKR picking up some powder. Yeah, that's a
one more check.
Interesting one.
Well, the nice thing for that is since she hasn't done the blacksmith chain at all, she'll be able to route both those in combination with one another for more efficiency.
Okay, we need to have a conversation here for a second. Yeah, okay. So Solsky, I'd just like to point out what Solsky did not do on that trip up to Death Mountain.
He didn't go to the Dark World? He didn't get his mitts.
No, he did not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Whoops.
It's fine. It's fine. He got his flippers. That was what was on his mind. And, it's unfortunate just because of routing-wise, because it was in Spec Cave, and he didn't have the mirror. He'll be more likely to go head up there with the mirror now, maybe? But he'll probably go ahead and do, like, Swamp Palace next. So, for his sake, as long as Fire Rod isn't blocked by the Titan Mitts, then he's still got a chance.
I mean, we're starting to run a little bit low on locations that are not blocked by by the Titan's Mitts, so...
We could even have Fire Rod in the first chest of T-Rock. Or at Argus.
That's another option as well. So
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is both good and terrible news for PKR. She does have the Fire Rod, so she'll now be able to go, finish Skullwoods. She can do all of T-Rock. So she's going to be on a bit of a wild goose chase before finding that bow. So it's kind of it's good, but it's also bad. It really depends on what her next moves are.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, I think the best case scenario. Okay, so she is heading up Death Mountain, so this might be Turtle Rock. The best case scenario for her, if I'm reading the tracker right here, she does still need to do Thieves. If she full clears TR, looking for the thing, at least if she goes to Thieves after that, then we can hope that the Pyramid Fairy check is going to get her into Escape. I think that's realistically the only way she's going to get in there in the near future.
Well, we do have our first Misery Mire dip from Mikan. No fire source yet, so he's only going to be able to check, most of the right side chests. We're still looking for that lamp. That lamp could very well be in here. There's a possibility of that. I don't remember where Ether was. It was really early on. I want to say it was in, like, the Sphere 1 locations, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where we got that.
Yeah, this is the T-Rock play, and, the amount of times we've seen as a community that bow on Laser Bridge. And with the amount of items locked in this dungeon, there are 5 items plus a 6th at Mimic Cave. It'd be a safe assumption. We do get the Godmire, or at least as close to it as possible, with the big key being the second chest. So Mikan will be able to go ahead and check the right side. For his sake, I kind of hope he doesn't find the lamp in here. Though, based on how his Dark Rooms have been going, I'm sure he's hoping to find it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Even if he finds it, I think depending on where the items are, I don't know that you actually go all the way through.
True. Well, this is good for Michael K. He is making the play into the front half of Escape, where he'll get a mushroom that will lead him to a Tempered Sword. And with that mirror in hand, there's a good chance he'll go ahead and mirror out to go check that sewer chest. You can only hope. And this is going to look like Solski's play into Swamp Palace, where he will find the Fire Rod. Of course, he still needs to... He does have the mirror, obviously. Yeah, and I'm sure he's seen Samari up there, so he knows it's up there. It's just a matter of when he's going to grab those Titan mitts.
Yeah, skipping that Spec Rock check on Solski's part was... it was damaging for Mikon earlier in the race. Solski skipping it at the point that he did, I think, is arguably a good bit more damaging, actually. Which is unfortunate.
Serious? Lamp was actually in Mystery Mire? Okay. I mean, that's the thing. They had access to it as soon as they got, mitts from Spec Rock, because they had early Ether, Flute, and Desert. Boots were early, or Hookshot, whichever way you looked at it, so... That's funny.
Yeah, the game, it's a funny game.
That's a video game for you.
There you go.
Well, I'm pretty set that Mikon's going to go ahead and full clear this entire dungeon.
I think having gotten the lamp, I certainly... I can't blame him too much for considering to do it, going and grabbing the green pendant and all of that, but good lord.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate scenario. The one thing he didn't need to find in here was the lamp. The worst thing is finding it after already doing pod. You're like, oh, come on, man. Yeah, let's do a little bitty baby recap. So, Solski, he's doing Swamp Palace, not only for the crystal, but we do know that Argus is holding on to that Fire Rod. PKR is still looking for the bow, which we do know is in the Dark Sewer. And there is the Tempered Sword in Mire. So there is our fourth sword. So it ended up paying off for him overall, and he's going to go ahead and bail out and say, no, Vitreous, I ain't got time.
I mean, good.
I got to go up here and get these mitts.
Yeah.
That he already has. Where's he going then? Oh, he's probably going to go get the flippers.
I mean, here's hoping, because we know obviously he needs to get into Swamp. He's also going to need to, go get that Cane of Samaria and et cetera, but here's just hoping that he doesn't dive into Turtle Rock right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is interesting for Mikon. If he doesn't have the mirror.
Oh.
So he went to the Dark World by mistake. It's kind of an unfortunate scenario where you have to go all the way up to get the flippers without the mirror, which is really it's a bit of a trek. And that was a bit of an error on his part. He's gonna feel that one. He's gonna remember that one.
Yeah, those are those little things that they don't seem like that big of a deal, but boy, do they put you on tilt pretty bad when you're frustrated near the end. While you're still searching for the one thing. That's not what you want to have happen.
Now the question for Mikon is: once he gets these flippers, will he go immediately check the Zora area? It's kind of one of those situations where had you sequence broke the flipper locations like people like to do pretty early on, you would have had that huge advantage of having the mirror, which allowed you to route up Death Mountain a lot easier. Be curious to see what he does next. The worst thing that he could probably do would be to, while he's up here, after getting the flippers, go ahead and finish all of Tower of Hera, and then next go straight to Ice Palace or something. That would put him a little bit far behind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, we're obviously in the enviable position of knowing where everything is, but I don't know. There always comes a point where you start to wonder, okay, well, when do I just switch into I just have to clear everything because clearly my plan hasn't been working, right? So,
right.
At what point do I just start saying, screw it, I'm just going to be thorough and make it all happen? And I could see Mikon maybe getting into that mode not too long from now. And we know that's not the right way to go, but
Well, this is good for him. He is checking all the flipper locations now, so he will be getting his mirror soon. I can kind of assume that he's going to go... He'd probably go right into Ice Palace right afterwards. But if he gets his mirror, then he's just one step closer to finishing the seed. So right now, it's hard to say who has the advantage in this race. Of course, there's huge differences in crystal counts, and the other players are going to have a strong advantage against PKR since she is full clearing all of T-Rock. I didn't get eyes on where the big key was in this dungeon, so I can't tell you how go modey this dungeon was, if at all. But
yeah, I mean the good thing is that with Turtle Rock, it's not that big of a difference either way. There's a difference, but it's not huge. I think the lead is hard to call right now because again, we know that bow is not in a place that PKR is likely to go to right now. I think that if Solsky had picked up the Titan's mitts on his last trip up Death Mountain, I think he would actually have a relatively commanding lead, at least on the restream here. But having skipped that, I mean, it's hard to say. He definitely has a crystal lead, which he'll maintain after beating Argus here. But I don't know, that
it's also interesting. I had a thing. It's gone now. Sorry. I totally had a thing, I promise.
I'm sure it was great.
I was thinking about that tempered sword that Mikon has. I'm sure Selsky will pick up the one in Meyer's shed, but I doubt any of the other three are going to dip into Misery Mire at this point, or those that haven't even gotten the mushroom or turned it in might not get that either. So it's going to come down. I could easily see PKR going for like the Thieves Town into Pyramid Fairy into Escape. That's how I would route. If put in the situation.
Yeah, and hopefully she does, because that's unquestionably her best, most likely route to get that bow. So.
And Solsky picking up his Fire Rod. So the thing for him is he knows where the Samaria is. I just really hope he hasn't just like completely written off Spec Cave like we thought Mikon did. But I think just based on how, with the lack of mirror, how they've had to route Death Mountain, that they might just haven't known. But it's interesting. Oh, I remembered my point. Pretty much all the items were before Titan. I don't think there were technically any items other than, of course, the logically required lamp were locked by the mitts.
It's true.
Like sequence breaking could make it so that mitts were the last item you get. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. I think that oh gosh, mitts are one of those items that were, in some ways Solsky has been fortunate because there are a tremendous number of locations that he hasn't had to think about yet. The problem is he's going to have to get a little bit completionist, to finish up the seed, and that's always a danger.
It's just so interesting after an hour. We see all four runners have kind of had a very different experience of the seed. It's just one of the things that makes Randomizer so exciting to play and exciting to watch, is that at the end of the day, you can talk to your buddies and be like, yo, how'd you route the seed? Oh, what? No way. That was your go mode? That's so cool.
I love these conversations. My answer
it's great.
Really badly, but
it went great. It was fine whilst gritting your teeth.
I really enjoyed myself, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm ready to do another one. Let's run it back. The salty run back.
So salty.
I think Mikon is also going to have a bit of an advantage because he'll have Tempered Sword for a bit longer than everyone else.
Sure, I don't know.
Allow him to clear dungeons a little bit faster and take out some bosses a little bit faster. So
I don't know how much that's going to buy him, but
he'll have a faster Cold Stare fight at least.
That's very true. He will. I'm looking forward to seeing them, those 6 slashes up in the corner. Easy every time.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Michael. A little too early on the bow before he actually had, revealed himself, his vulnerability stage. So just losing a little bit of time there. We've seen some snazzy hammer strats on this Mothula fight. I'm impressed anytime you can get an upward attack on Mobula with the hammer. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do for sure. Fortunately, with blue mail and a lot of health, not as dangerous as it often is, but definitely still no easy thing to accomplish technically.
Well, okay, so this is going to be interesting. I believe Solsky does have his Quake Medallion, but this will technically for him be a Mitz Go Mode C for him. Once he finds the Mitz, then all he has to do is just go to Hookshot Cave, and there's Go Mode sitting right there. Ice Rod in the first chest, and then Samaria on Floating Island, and then he could just go finish the rest of the stuff. So that's
God, that is the weirdest in-game route
mm-hmm.
ever, right? I mean, if he goes to Swamp, or sorry, we already did that. But when he goes up there, you usually your ideal, you love to finish Hera last, right? But in this particular case, finishing with Spec Rock is almost exactly the same thing. From a routing standpoint, it's I've never seen that before. It's really pretty cool.
Because he doesn't really have anything else left to do in the light world, as far as I know. Or not in the light world.
He does still have to do ice and turtle.
He does have to do, yeah. So he'll more than likely, well, I guess he could just get the Samaria and then just immediately mirror and go do Ice Palace right away. It's just a matter of if he knows where those mitts are, if he's gonna go check those right away. But yeah, that's the thing, is he's gonna run out of stuff to do because he doesn't have the mitts, which is kind of good for him.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out, I mean, we've been having, late game discussions here for about 20 minutes, and we're only an hour 6 into the seed. A lot of stuff happened pretty quickly up front in this one, and it's really, a couple of really interesting decisions not to check Spectacle Rock, and a really incredible sequence break into the dark sewers that are
honestly, I can totally get behind the Spectacle Rock skip. I would never make that play, but you see players going up there, they don't have the mirror, but they do have the hook shot. So instead of walking all the way up and around just to check Spectacle Rock and Spectacle Cave, they just do the eastward route with hook shot, go all the way up, check, book, and then you have that decision. All right, do I do Spiral Cave? Or do I hop down and check Spectacle Cave? And most people would do Spiral. So I could see how you would put that off. It'd be a lot easier to check if you were going up that way via the mirror, which I think Michael K was the first one that had the mirror early on, and then PKR was pretty close behind.
So that's definitely true, and I can, certainly see that stuff to an extent. But I mean, again, I think it's about the surprising thing to me, at least in Solsky's case, is the point in the seed at which he made that decision. I think as late into it as he was, I'm actually surprised he didn't go all the way around. I think when you're early and you still have a bit of time to recover and make more interesting decisions, I completely agree with you. But it's really interesting to make that call as late as he did.
Yeah. That's the thing where it starts to get more leaning more towards the, did they forget? Did they make a mistake? When it's late game and you're skipping spots.
Yeah, I mean, forgetting is always possible. Solsky is generally pretty on the ball about that stuff, though. So I'd be surprised if he'd straight up forgotten. I think it's more likely that he's committing, to a decision that he made, which sometimes is the right thing to do, and sometimes really, really bites you. So
you gotta double down on them dumbs every now and then. All right, well, this is good for Mikan. It looks like he will be making his Swamp Palace debut and be getting his Fire Rod. And then he does have Quake. I'd like to note he did pick up Quake when he was in Zora's River before he went in Ice Palace. So he just needs that Fire Rod from Argus, and then he needs to go up and get the Cane of Samaria. No, he should have. No. He should have Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, Death Mountain
did hookshot
really hard to keep straight in this seed because people have been up there so many times and done so many interesting things that who even knows really what's happened up there.
Is
It's
this
like Vegas.
even a video game? Are we even living in the present anymore? Do I want to go to the past, or do I want to live in this desolate future
I
with
mean,
Ganon in charge?
The good thing
Oh,
is we
GTA.
do have we have a link to the past right here, so you have that option to go back.
Let's go back. 2006. That was
Okay, Solsky, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the fact that I can now, like, sit back a little bit, relax for a second, without worrying about you for the next 20 minutes. I appreciate it.
Okay, Mikan, maybe he did Hookshot Cave without the mirror or something. He does not have Canis Maria, so.
Ooh, yeah, it's...
But he knows it's there. And it's fine, because he'll be able to just go up there and immediately do T-Rock. But at this rate, it looks like Solsky will be our first person he saved and quit. Okay. Never mind. Wait, hold on. He's got the flute. He's gonna go to Meyer, though.
Yeah.
Solsky, come on, man. What are you doing? Oh, man. Wild goose chases.
This race is... Honestly, my life expectancy might have changed over the course of this race. This is just watching people do the things they've been doing is not good for me. This is really...
Well, okay,
so,
all right.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna have his Tempered Sword, which is good. It's a good thing. It's a good
Very
thing.
good
He's gonna check checkerboard. He knows where Samaria is, but he might still go ahead and check Meyer. Nah, he's not gonna check Meyer.
I mean, why
Should
would
check
he
checkerboard.
at this point? You know, like... I don't understand any reason why he would dive into Meyer at this point.
This is interesting. This is coming down to the wire. Like, PKR, assuming she does Pyramid Fairy, will get her bow. Assuming she mirrors and does that. Not doing the blacksmith stuff.
Okay, well, Solsky is going into ice. He does need to complete it regardless, but he's unfortunately not going to be go-moding this dungeon like he
Man, that sucks.
should be.
That's unfortunate for him. That would have been a nice advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been huge. I think that, you know, had he done that, he would have had a pretty commanding lead. But I think at this point, PKR almost certainly about to go check the Pyramid Fairy and hopefully for her dive into escape and find that bow.
Mm-hmm. Michael gonna be getting his fire out soon. He still needs to go back up and get Stumaria, and he is still... Well, he finished Pod. He did do that. So, I think he still needs to go do Ice then? I don't know. I can't tell anymore. Well, at least for Solsky's sake, he did pick up that Tempered Sword in Meyer area, so he's going to be be able to get at least beat Cold Steel a little bit quicker. It's one advantage.
For sure.
And having Tempered Sword for Argus is also a nice little advantage for our boy Mikan as well. We got another bee in a bottle in Pyramid Fairy, but this is looking like that play into escape, so... Assuming Mikan goes straight up to Death Mountain, he could be our first one in go mode, or it's going to be PKR as soon as she goes to the back here, which she's going there first. Which makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially with the mirror. You know, it's fast either way, but this is a much faster check.
And then all she has to do is go do Pod. I don't think she's been to Pod yet. And then finish up Eastern Palace, so it's gonna work out pretty well. That routing, it ended up working out pretty well. She's got a lot of stuff done, so...
Yeah, she, having already cleared Turtle Rock, definitely in her favor. Finishing up Pod Eastern, not going to take really any time at all. So this is going to be pretty quick for her to finish out here.
Yeah, at 1 hour and 14 minutes, roughly, PKR is technically our first player in Go mode. Never going to get that lamp in Misery Mire, but that's okay. Now, the only downside is she will, now that we know where all the swords are, she will more than likely be finishing with just a Master Sword.
Yeah, I don't see her getting anything else. I mean, I think at this point, why would she, right? Like, there's
so
no
I'm
benefit
still going
whatsoever.
to kind of give advantage to Mikan or Soulscape, but it still, for them, depends on when they go grab stuff, when they go do other things. I mean, Soulscape, unless he does like all the blacksmith stuff next, or any of the other overworld stuff, it might put off his trip up to Death Mountain.
Definitely possible. I mean, I think we do have, ordinarily we'd be having a discussion about, execution and GT and all that sort of stuff. But realistically, I think that certainly PKR and Soulscape, and I would say Mikan as well, all very, very competent executors going up GT, certainly all capable of doing any version again, and they need to. Though some are faster for everybody, but I don't see there being a big execution difference in GT between these runners.
All right, will Mikan follow in his own advice? Will he take this death to Mothula or not? This is the moment of truth for him. This is his big demon. Tempered Sword, gonna make this a little bit quicker. I feel if his dot comment isn't finally beat Mothula, I'll be disappointed.
I feel lied to. TBH. I was promised death, and I have been cheated.
Yo, chat, can we get a single G for Mikan for fighting that fight and doing very well?
No good game, just good.
Just G.
Or maybe it's just game.
Yeah. That's all we need. Alright, Soulscape does take out Cold Stare and gets his... What is this? His 6th crystal? So, assuming he goes right up to Death Mountain, it's kind of one of those things where he knows where Samari is. He's going to go straight for the Ice Palace in T-Rock play, so I can easily see him heading up there right now.
Moment of truth, for sure.
And then he's going to be like, oh, it was in Hookshot Cave. Alright. Sweet. Okay, cool, thanks. Don't make me a liar, Soulscape.
Okay. Hey.
And Mikan is also heading up to Death Mountain as well. So this is going to be close between Mikan and Soulscape. I believe Mikan does have his Quake Medallion.
Okay, Soulscape, unfortunately...
Having a little bit of a struggle there.
Yeah, he failed his RNG manip. It's pretty rough. So, those RNG manip strats, they're pretty brutal if you mess them up. I love going for that. So he didn't even go for the drive-through. He actually jumped down from the ledge directly into that bedrock. Yeah, it was
unfortunate how easy it is to do that.
I still maintain somewhere in Kyoto there's actually like a 60-year-old Japanese guy who's just laughing to himself for the last few decades about those dead rocks. He's just like, oh, these kids. I got them so good.
My greatest achievement was dunking on some kids with dead rocks. All right, well, Soulscape making his way through Super Bunny Cave, going to be just right behind Mikan. So the two of these guys are going to be hitting go mode roughly around the exact same time. Mikan with a little bit of a head start since he already did Hookshot Cave itself. He just has to go get this Cane of Samari on Floating Island. And with the sword advantage, the silver advantage, and already being on T-Rock, these guys are going to be in contention for being our first players to finish on the restream, which, as we said, could easily come down to just a divergence in GT routing. And with apparently the big key in T-Rock being at Chain Chomps means there's good potential for skipping Laser Bridge. I'll have to see for sure once we get in there.
Yeah, I think it might have been possible, if I recall correctly, but...
Yeah, it's unfortunate for PKR making a lot of really good plays, but unfortunately skipping out on like the sword upgrade and apparently the silvers, which were just sitting at the, Flute Kid.
Oh, right. She doesn't have silvers either.
That's an impressive one to miss. I mean, I guess if your routing just never took you there, but I would also then assume that she never checked like Circle of Bushes or must have saved and quit outside a digging game or something, or mirrored and fluted away. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is again one of those things where we were talking about different play styles earlier. A lot of players will try to clear out regions. One for mental sort of space preservation, but also because it's generally a bit more efficient. I think it's interesting when you make a little bit more kind of targeted checks and kind of just dip into places. You end up orphaning things and they become harder to check. And she's definitely orphaned a few common parts of runs of locations here that are definitely going to end up paying off for Solsky and Mikon.
Seems to be how it always goes. You skip one thing and that always ends up being either your go mode item or like a required sword or still something useful.
Yeah, to quote TGH, never lucky.
Never lucky.
Period, angry face.
But knowing PKR, it's gonna take a lot longer to get through the remainder of the game, especially the Ganon fight, but she'll still perform. She's a very good runner at this game, as we all saw during the tournament, and as we all saw just daily with all the SG dailies or every race.
Yeah, no question.
So, Master Sword Ganon's not bad. Master Sword Silverless Ganon, that just stinks. That's awful.
It really does. But what doesn't stink, just FYI, are those 4 really, really, really clean hammer hits on Helmasaur. For anybody who hasn't ever done that, it is that is not easy at all. Favorable RNG, but still, that is it is actually a really, really finicky hitbox, and so good job on that Helmasaur fight.
Straight out of that NMG playbook. So it's good, dude. When you get 4 clean ones, it's a good feeling. You can go home.
Oh, you feel like a goddess. Like
you feel empowered. You're like, all right, I can. World record, here I come.
Yeah, where's my 122? It's in the bag.
You just gotta get there. It takes time. You just need a few years, right?
Oh wait, it takes time. Never mind. I'm out. I'm out.
Just
not worth.
It's more fun.
Thank you.
It's fun in a different way. All right.
I agree. No further.
Dude, I just really want to work on my rando PVs. Like that's what it's all about. Also, I didn't even notice that the Solsky's bunny sprite is like the Dark World soldiers. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's nice to see some variance in sprites. Not to point out that 2 of our sprites on the restream are the same, but we don't see many of these. We don't really see Inkling that often, or the guard. We do see Super Bunny or the bunny sprite a lot because he's adorable.
It is true. Shout outs to the sprite team, by the way, because we have a bunch of really, really cool sprites in the game, and I do know that there are some new ones showing up in V30, which are also pretty cool. So
we're gonna have like over 100 like options, or maybe we already do. I can't keep.
There's a lot. I don't know if we're over 100.
Oh no, that is. Does he have a fairy?
He does. Okay.
Thank goodness. I remember he also has a blue potion on him if things get spicy again. But yeah, would definitely advise taking advantage of that hugging the top wall to avoid the ice. But that's a spicy Armos quick kill from PKR. And PKR also is our first player to grab all 7 crystals, and we'll be heading up GT Tower. It's going to be 3 players in GT around the same time, but the sword and weapon difference, it's, I got to give advantage to Mikon at this point, who is currently our leading player.
Yeah, without without the silver arrows, I think if she had silver arrows, I think things could be a little bit different. But without the silvers and with us knowing she's not going to be getting them, this is definitely I think Mikon's race to lose at this point, at least on the restream.
Look at those bees go. Okay, Mikon does have to be careful here. One hit from Trinex will put him down at 4 hearts and green mail. That's a little scary. But we do have 22 chests coming up, and in one of those chest locations, or item locations, however you want to look at it, will be the Ganon's Tower big key that we do need to get up the gauntlet to go face our true fear, Moldorn 2, and then Aghanim 2, and then eventually fight our good big boy Blue Pig Ganon. So if you got him, toss him in chat. What do you think it's going to be, guys? What do you think it's going to be, Emo? What are you hoping?
I
know you love this question.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Willard. No, honestly, I hope that it is in Bob's chest, and the reason I hope that is because I think that location offers the most sort of interesting play out, based on which route through GT people choose to take. So I think that's always an interesting outcome, and it gives players a lot to think about after the fact.
I think Bob's chest is, aside from like Tile Room, probably one of the more frustrating locations, just because you're always thinking, I could have done this so much faster if I just like gone full right, or if we're gonna see like the stupid route like Stalfos Room to full right, or some people just go straight left. We're of course gonna base everything on Mikon, who is our first player in here, and got 2 chests coming up on the right side. Let's see what we got. All right.
Alrighty.
Chest number 1. Easy game.
All right, so PKR entering GT 22 seconds behind Mikon, and I think that coupled with the weapon power difference is pretty significant, actually.
Jeez. All right, well, I think that'd also be frustrating for PKR if she got the big key right away, because then, she's instinctively wanting to check extra chests in here just in case she finds a sword. She'll probably go ahead and check every chest up on the top, up at the gauntlet, just in hopes of finding a tempered sword, because silverless tempered sword is fine. Master Sword Silvers is fine.
Yeah.
Master Sword Silverless is bad.
Sadness. So
especially when you don't have the cape either.
Oh yeah. So Solsky grabbing his big key, going to be heading up. Solsky entered GT just a hair under a minute behind Mikon. Not an insurmountable lead if Mikon were to have a couple, larger errors, but it's definitely going to take something like that to get Solsky out front.
No half magic, so I'm not going to be able to take advantage of like fire rotting through a lot of these rooms. I don't think Solsky or Mikon picked up any sort of potions or anything, so whatever they got, they're working with. They do have powder, so they'll be able to refill their health up at the top of the gauntlet.
And, yeah, I mean, I think realistically, with what they've got, magic is the least of their concern, and their health count is super good.
Mikon does have a blue potion as well. Let's see this this 1 cycle. Landmill is 2 with the silver arrows. A little too low on that first shot, but he might be able to at least clean up the second 2 and finish this out. Oh, nice, very nice. Even despite going to the left, he was close enough that he was able to hit that landmill, take him out. And really good placement for Solsky, being able to dash through like 2 of those enemies, especially the really annoying Style Childs that like to jump away.
Yeah, they're jerks.
They are the worst. All right, and before we forget, Michael K did just finish off Skullwoods. All he has left is Turtle Rock. I'm curious to see what... I'm curious, does he already have Kina Samaria, or is he still looking for... He does not. So either he didn't see it up there on Floating Island, or he might be looking for a lamp, but I'm pretty sure he's competent in his abilities to do dark runes, like
I
Dark
mean,
T-Rock.
Certainly,
Especially Dark T-Rock.
yeah.
It's
Based
like
on the way he's
the
been
easiest
playing,
one.
based on the way he's been playing all seed, I mean, I would be surprised if he's not at least okay with attempting it. You know, even if he's not the most comfortable with it, at least going for it.
PKR using up all our magic, not able to take down the land molas in 1 cycle or 2 cycles, unfortunately, and having to drop that blue potion. Mikan heading to the top. He's going to go ahead and probably... Okay. No, he's good. He's got help. He's got confidence. He can do this.
Yeah, I think with silvers, I mean, this is not going to be bad. If he can, you know, get a clean first 2 phases on Ganon, then he's going to be fine, just fine.
A little bit sloppy with his Moldorm 2 fight, accidentally poking Moldorm and then hit him again, send him into rage, but it not being a problem, just kind of sitting there slashing, hope for the best. He's going to go ahead and ditch all of his bombs down to the bottom of Moldorm 2's pit and check that Moldorm 2 chest to get a big 20. I would have loved to have seen it be like 3 bombs.
Yeah, that would have been...
Get his
I would have loved to have seen him turn back around to ditch those 3 bombs into the pit and then move on. After being cheated from the Mothula death, I feel like he owes us something.
It's okay. He'll just get a double triple right here.
Okay, well.
Okay, hold on. Ooh, that's a good setup. As long as he doesn't get the blue ball or knock him into the...
Oh, no.
Mikan, you had it! Come on.
You fool. You fool.
You blew it! Oh, that was so close. Still, really good fight. 3 cycle. 2 would have been, you know, preferred, but 3 is actually still extremely good.
At 3 is as good as you can actually expect. Whether you can do 2 or not is completely out of your control. So while he could have gotten it this time, you can always be happy with a 3 cycle Aga 2. All right, so Mikan dropping into the Ganon fight at 131.40.
Oh, and Solsky got the double triple. Let's go.
Oh, baby.
I still think at this point, Mikan's got this in the bag, unless he takes an unfortunate death. He does still have that blue potion, but he's got to be careful. 4 hearts is not that much to work with. And, you know, you got to think. Tempered Sword, was that a 2 site? You know, 2, and now he's, like, lagging the game. So, I don't know. Solsky could make up some time here.
Yeah, I mean, if Solsky gets a clean 1-1, you can make up a bit of time. I still don't think it's going to be enough with Mikan on phase 3 at this point, so...
PKR also, unfortunately, missing the double triple. We're going to clean him up with a 3 cycle real quick. And that will be our 3rd player heading into the Ganon fight. Of course, I haven't looked at the IRC, so I don't know where anyone else is at, but this is all I care about right now.
Yeah, and with Michael K heading into Hera, I think we have to assume at this point that he does not remember about that Canis Samaria location.
Oh no. Mikan. He had to think about it.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like, I don't want to take a dip. All right. He was so close to setting up that double right in the middle, but he slashed to the right, and the hitbox just did not connect. But as soon as Mikan walks through that room, he will be our first player on the restream to finish. And I'll get you guys an idea of his time and what placement he got overall. Mikan finishes a time of 133.22, 4th place. Oh, wow. All right, let's see who our top 3 runners were. We did have Bonta coming in at 1st place at 125, Killer App coming in 2nd at 128.25, and Haiku Type coming in 3rd at a 133.06. We also now, as soon as he walks to that room, have our good friend Solsky walking through that door, coming in 5th place with a time of 133.43. GG's to our runners on stream, as well as all the participating thus far who have finished, and good luck to those still in the fight.
Well, got him.
Got him. Very good. First 2 phase, I almost said 1-1, which would not have been accurate. Well, you can...
No.
You can get a 1 cycle on phase 2 with Master Sword.
If you get favorable placement. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. I have to believe that Michael just never, or he maybe saw it on Floating Island and then forgot about it. So
Yeah, you hate to see this type of thing, because I mean, realistically, he was very much keeping up, very much on pace. The vast majority of the run, but clearly this is just the thing that, put him off. So,
I mean, the good thing for him is, assuming he does go straight to the east, he'll still be able to grab it on his way into Turtle Rock. But if he thinks he saw it or checked Floating Island and it was nothing, it's an easy mistake to make, to forget that was a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, and taking a dip down the middle hole, that is insult to injury. That's not what you want to see.
No, that is pain in a bottle right there.
What you do want to see, though, is this really crisp Phase 4 Ganon with just Master Sword. I think she's been, for the most part, getting every single hit. Well, at least 2 max.
Yeah, that one was pretty tight, but she's doing quite well. Having that potion allowing her to be quick about it with the Fire Rod, enabling those triples. It is technically possible to get triples with the lamp, but it is far, far more finicky and far more warp RNG dependent. So.
Yeah, once she finishes up, then we can start bringing folks in to chit-chat about dim race, about their thoughts on this. 24 spins, and that is going to do it for Ganon in this fight. And PKR, as soon as she walks through that door, we will have her time. What a great run for our top 3 finishers in the restream.
Yeah, very well done across the board. And
PKR does finish in 7th place, right behind Gus, with a time of 1:36.20, just about a little less than 2 minutes behind the 6th place finisher. So GG's to our top 3 runners on the restream, finishing 4th, 5th, and 7th place.
How long were you going to keep me there in that waiting channel?
Listen, we were waiting for PKR to finish up her Master Sword Silverless Ganon.
That stinks.
That does stink. So I'm assuming she didn't get... There was one in Mire, and then there was one on Mushroom, and she never went to the Zelda cell to get the Mushroom.
I see. Yeah, I never turned that in, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, we were wondering. We were super worried this whole playthrough about you and Solsky and them Titan mitts.
Oh my god. My heart.
Well, Poe being locked behind the lamp and not having the lamp yet, I just figured I missed something somewhere, so I just immediately... whatever I had access, immediately had access to, and then, it just kind of worked out there.
You and Solsky both were on Death Mountain several times before those Titans mitts ended up in your possession. The flip side is you guys sequence broke into the back of Escape, the dark sewers in Escape, and got that bow way before everybody else on the restream. And so it was really, really interesting waiting for 2 people to go into the dark sewers and for you guys to finally actually go check Spectacle Rock, which you had access to forever, to get those mitts.
I was waiting until I found either the lamp or the flute to kind of realize when Death Mountain was supposed to be in the path. Thankfully, I don't think the flute came too long after all that. The flute was in desert. Yeah, I got that pretty quickly, I thought.
Yeah, flute was quite early. The desert was quite lucrative.
Light World in general was very lucrative, actually. It's a treasure trove of starting progression.
Yeah, you guys had a tremendous amount. I mean, especially once you guys got them in, you had a tremendous amount of world open to you very early, which is always kind of a blessing and a curse. So.
Never used Burna on Ganon, by the way.
It's pretty slow.
It was really slow.
Mm-hmm.
Cape is okay. I'm about that sometimes, but
one of the interesting thoughts I had about the seed was, despite if you just ignored Lamp's existence and dark rooms were fair game, pretty much everything, basically the mitts could have been go mode, and it pretty much was for Solsky. because Mitz immediately led to both Ice Rod and Samaria right in Hookshot Cave.
Right. I was actually pondering go moding ice and heading right up there because that's 12 items versus 8 left in the world I had down below. So it was tempting, and then I got the small key first item, and I was like, nah, it's too free to pass off.
Yeah. Nah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Overall, the seed was very interesting. The sequence throughout all of it was because it was like what the flippers. Like if you did like any sort of sequence breaking, like dark rooms to get the bow, fake flipper or water walk to get the mirror, like the seed was kind of wanting to be extremely linear, and there were so many ways you could say no, that's not happening. Sorry, dude. You're gonna have to take a step back.
And then you spend the entire seed tilted because of bad enemy RNG, like the worst enemy RNG I've ever seen in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, that was you kind of got cornered there, and you were just like, well, this is my time to go.
Yeah, like that threw off everything, because I would have gotten that sword, which would have led me to escape, which would have gotten me the bow, which would have put me on the course to do everything else properly. Instead, we had a lovely experience of me just going full tilt and doing whatever the heck I wanted to, which resulted in a Master Sword Sylvius fight at the end.
It kind of, I mean, it worked out. Like, you still got 7, so I mean,
That's pretty bad. I was 12 minutes behind.
But yeah, it's just so interesting how because I was talking about this earlier, where like if you commit to something and then like you die or fail, and then you just completely change your mind to do something else. 9 times out of 10, if you just recommitted, it would have worked out.
Well, at that point, I had a vendetta. The whole reason I didn't go right back is because I wanted a sword, so I could nuke those stupid mini Moldors with ether. So that's
Fair
why I
enough.
went back as soon as I got the sword out of Iron Shed.
Yeah.
But it's just like, game, just give me one. I know there's 2 out there, the flippers are at ether.
we kind of saw it coming where Bo was going to be either you or Michael's go mode item based on how the seed was playing out, because like everything kind of led you to just keep putting off escape until you needed to. And then basically once, T-Rock was open and available, it was like, all right, well, as Emo said, we'll get T-Rock, we'll get Thieves Town, and then we'll get Pyramid Ferry into escape. That's going to be it. That's going to be the PKR play, and then it was.
At least I skipped the rest of the Southwest Dark World. It's like, nope, don't care. Just going to Pyramid Ferry now.
Skipping silvers on Flute Kid, and what were the other swords? There's a sword in Mire, and then there was the mushroom was in Zelda Cell to turn in to get a sword.
Wow, this would have gone like a million times better if it wasn't for Mini Moldorm Cave.
Oh, it happens. Every once in a while, those things are just brutal.
I'm glad I got... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I would have had Master Sword the first time up Death Mountain to lead to the flippers, to lead to swap, to lead to what would have been Fire Rod Go Mode. Ah!
That's random for you.
Oh, because
it's
Mini
like
Moldorm deciding to glitch its way to the center platform! Ah! Like, that has nothing to do with rando, that has everything to do with the pits being the glitchiest thing ever and Link to the Past!
Well, I personally think, people hate Dead Rocks a lot, but I still despise Mini Moldorms more than them, especially like NMG and you're running through like Tower of Hera. They always find a way to hit you. Or dodge you completely if you're like playing rando and trying to death warp and like, no, get away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not here to help you, man. Just stay away.
Everything's terrible.
I super agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Dead Rocks, they're not bad unless you're Soulski and you land on top of one. Then that's kind of rough.
Okay, so that was a lot of fun to watch. I hate to like enjoy other people's sadness, but not really. I find it enjoyable. But Soulski jumping directly on top of that Dead Rock and just sitting there making sad movements was that was entertaining for me. I'm sorry, Soulski.
That's great.
I just want to point out, Mikan and Soulski kind of had the exact same, like similar routes throughout the entire run.
Very
and they finished with the same collection rate, which is hilarious.
Nice.
I also thought it was funny that both PKR and Michael both chose the Inkling sprite, and both made a similar play to Sahasrara early to get the boots.
Yep.
So
Both, I mean, two groups of routes, really, because until Michael, clearly forgot about Floating Island and Cane of Samaria, really making very, very similar choices for the vast majority of the seed. So it was interesting to see.
I've never had to do what I did at the start of the seed when I got to town. I had 2 bombs, so I got the north 2, I got the well, and then I got Blindside, of course. But after buying the bottle vendor, I didn't have enough money for bombs, so I just skipped the chicken hut and had to come back there. I've never had to do that.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I didn't want to go farm rupees. Just whatever. And then I got bailed out by bombs in the dam because I wouldn't have had any to get into mini Moldworm.
You could have checked. There's that one 50-50 bomb, like right by the bombable hut at the bottom left of Kakariko. You might have been able to try that for like a real quick grab.
Oh, in the middle of all those stupid bushes. Yeah, I could have.
But I don't think there was anything in there other than maybe.
It was bombs, of course.
Oh yeah, that happens way so often.
I had to come back and let it turn in the bottle, so it was okay. It was just kind of weird having not enough rupees for both those things, even after all the pot rupees on both the well and whatever.
So the interesting thing for me for this seed was how I was saying earlier how linear it is until you start throwing in like glitches and sequence breaks and kind of change how you want the seed to play out. Like the seed wanted you to go, of course, into Mire as soon as you probably could without a fire source to find that lamp. And then that's what led to pretty much everything. Well, not everything else, but a lot of other stuff. But when you have lamp as like one of those like gatekeepers, it's so easy to just be like, nah, I don't need it. Unless it like lamp literally leads to like a fire rod or something else.
Right.
I think of the 4, Michael, of course, went to Mire because he's still looking for Samaria, but Mikan was the only one that actually like went there just by choice, I think.
It was... Why did I do that? That was probably a... You know what? I probably made some mistakes and feel a little bit behind. Let's just do this anyway. I don't know what I was expecting to find there. The lamp was pretty cool, I guess, even though I had already done Polynesian by then.
Yeah, it always shows up right after you already do all the hard stuff. I mean, it led you to a sword, which ended up benefiting you quite a bit towards the end.
It really did.
At least in the matchup between you and Solsky, it probably secured your lead against him.
After picking up that sword, I thought, man, do I want to go to Vitreous or not? And I'm glad I left because I completely forgot I didn't have Samaria by then.
It's probably a good thing you didn't pick it up. Yeah, it was so with Death Mountain was just so stacked, which was really weird. And aside from Fire Rod at Swamp, was there and Desert Palace, Pendant Desert Palace being loaded, was there really anything else inside dungeons? I don't think so.
Things were pretty light, I think. Where was Ice Rod again?
Hookshot Cave.
Okay, yeah.
I think this is just one of those extremely stacked overworld seeds, which I don't know if that's like a product of V29 or something. Because I remember, was it V28 that was super dungeon heavy?
I think it was really like V26, 27, and a little bit of V25 was pretty dungeon heavy. I think with some of the tweaks to the fill in 28 and on, things have been a little bit more balanced. Although, there's things seem to come in waves for whatever reason. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm personally, I know I'm looking forward to V30. I don't know if you guys are, like, at all. I don't know if you guys care at all about V30, but I do. It's gonna be fun.
I am skeptical until I actually experience it.
Have you not played any of the practice seeds that are posted?
Nope.
You should play practice seed.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no.
I should.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So did he? I'm guessing he accidentally opened up the lava chest door.
And then didn't go get the chest, yeah.
That sucks. You might as well just mirror out. Well, no, I guess...
Be at the big chest from there.
That's an unfortunate one to make. Have any of you guys tried inverted yet? I know Solsky was doing one this morning, right?
Yep.
I
This is my second
got
one.
to
It's a lot of
try.
fun.
I got to try one, and it was a GT Big Key on Torch, 2 boots on pedestal seed.
Spoilers.
So I got to really try out one.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
It was so. I'm happy I checked pedestal right after GT, but at the same time, dang it.
Yeah, jeez. That's rough.
Oh, I think
Have
he
you
just forgot
guys-
to kill that pokey, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like. Have you guys taken advantage of like the hint system? What are your thoughts on that?
If it means I don't have to go to Catfish as often, I'm game.
Catfish, left side swamp, left side mire.
It's
Is
like,
blacksmith? Purple chest is one of them as well. Yeah.
Graveyard Ledge. All those really annoying overworld locations you don't want to do.
I'm personally excited to play around with him. I don't know my thoughts on how it's going to affect like the competitive, quote unquote competitive meta is going to be interesting. So I'm going to be excited and nervous to see how that progresses throughout, like, you know, the start of the tournament, because we do have, of course, qualifiers are starting up. Not too far away. We do have, they're like October 2nd of next month. I said October. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead. You guys have anything to say?
I was doing an inverted this morning. There was someone that was wanting help, and I hadn't played inverted yet, so I figured I'd just play through and try to help him. And we ended up finding a logic bug, so that was cool.
What was the bug?
Cape led to progression at Spike Cave, but you didn't have the Moon Pearl to fill your bottle from the Light World potion shop.
You don't need to. You can get potions from either the Guild Podcast shop or
Green
the
potions, though? Magic potions?
red potions.
Well, that's not. Unless the logic has changed to regard red potions, then it's still a bug.
So I think you are. I thought this changed in V29. Actually, I think you are allowed to logically solve Spike Cave by taking damage now. It no longer requires it to be solvable without taking damage.
Well,
They count
but Cape, but
Okay, so
3 hearts,
all the-
1 bottle.
all the logic.
Yeah, 3 hearts, 1 bottle is not
to do
enough.
that.
Yeah, that's
Not with the Cape, it isn't.
It,
Yeah,
it needs
that's
a
a bit
little
wrong.
bit of a tweak because the logic, as it's programmed, only cares about if you have cape and bottle, and then they just kind of remove the moon pearl requirement out of that. So I guess it needs to be a little more specific now.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna be based on eyes that I have. 2 of them, in fact. It sounds like they're working on fixing some stuff, which is kind of the perfect point of having these test seeds, so people can check stuff out. Of course, there's always the fact that qualifiers are, weak. But anywho,
Yeah.
enough about that. Yeah, of course we don't have to worry about inverted until stage 2 anyway. But with the upcoming tournament, how are you guys feeling? You guys feeling pretty good? You guys, all 3 of you guys did, PKR especially did very well in the spring tournament, coming in, 4th place, I think, overall?
Yeah.
I don't remember how far Beacon and Solsky made it, but how you guys feeling overall about? Have you been practicing? Are you ready for some open mode? No more standard for now. What are your thoughts?
I'm fine with open. Oh, geez, that Termix. That's kind of stinks. I'm fine with open mode, but once we get into the brackets and I'm going to be forced to play inverted and retro, that's gonna suck a lot for me because I haven't played any of those.
Yeah, I think inverted is potentially interesting. I think it's a little bit hot off the presses, but I'm actually surprised that retro is going to be in there. I don't know. It's just that's a weird mode for competition, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is, the player still has to pick retro, right, to play it.
They do.
I feel like
but,
most people are just gonna pick stuff that they want to play, unless they're just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna metagame my opponent so hard and pick a mode that I know he hasn't played, but I also haven't played it, so it doesn't.
I mean, I know for a fact that if I actually enter and actually do halfway decently, everybody's going to pick Sanity on me because I've talked about how much I hate it for so long, and so there's no chance in heck that I don't end up being forced to play Crossworld's entrance Sanity every match that gets scheduled. So I'm kind of tempted to not enter or
Man, I know,
do well.
I know, like first round in brackets, if I make it in, they're gonna be like, all right, Will, we're. Come on, no.
I wouldn't mind entrance Crossroad Sanity. Can I have free wins, please?
At least
I
it's best
actually-
out of 3.
That's true. I actually love Crossworld's entrance shuffle. I think it's a lot of fun. Sanity is a nightmare that should be wiped from the face of the earth.
When it comes to the modes, I actually hate open mode the most. I prefer standard. I would rather
That's
play
interesting.
any other mode but open mode. Because open
What
mode
about
act-
swordless?
I would rather play swordless, but I would have to be like swordless not open because that's just still open mode. It's just
What's
that
your-
it's
What do you not like about open mode? Just that it's
that's a
open?
4th pendant dungeon. There's no good opening plays at all because you're pretty much forced into just going to Kakariko for resources. It's not interesting. It's the most boring opening out of every single mode out there. Not only that, but for some reason the logic really, really, really likes to make stupid scenes when you switch it to open mode. Whereas standard, you get this nice flow going on, you get some basic resources out of Escape, usually a progression item from Uncle, and maybe 1 or 2 more from Escape itself. You can choose to go wherever once you get out of Escape because you actually have something to work with. It's way more open-ended. Whereas Open's just like, I guess I had to go do some sort of money or bomb route because I have nothing to do at the start of the scene until I get some. It's really not interesting at all. And then you get stuff like Entrance, which is like this wild and crazy adventure. You get Inverted, which is interesting and like just different than the norm, even though there's not really very many starting options than that either. But at least it's hard. It's just like, I really don't like open. It just results in the worst seeds most of the time.
Intriguing.
Yeah. The first race I ever won in SRL was my first ever open mode seed. I'll never forget. I went straight to the uncle and he gave me a butter sword. I'm like, thank you.
What a pal.
What a guy. Good old V18, or I guess it would have been
Yeah.
V18 or whatever.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like standard, I like standard just because it kind of puts everyone. It's nice for like viewing because you have this like simple route that everyone can see, and everyone there's the whole like, oh, are they gonna have bombs for the back of Escape kind of thing. But then most of the time, it usually just always goes Lost Woods, Kakariko, Save and Quit, South
if you're
Shore,
boring.
Moldorn, Ice Rock Cave, maybe, then fake flipper stuff, or I don't. The only real difference I see between standard and open is just open is like, well, when do I want to do boring old Escape, now or later?
It's like, when do you want to go into your 4th pendant dungeon?
But
It's a small one, but it basically is.
it's okay if you have to do open mode. You can just throw an Randomizer and something. That'll make it exciting, right? You know, go do Escape and die instantly. It's cool. It'd be great.
God.
Swap all those
Standard
ropes out
Randomizer.
for like 4 of those big yellow spikes and a couple Lionels. It'd be perfect.
Throw on standard advisor, watch as everybody squirms for half an hour before they finally get out of Escape.
I don't think that's allowed, but that's usually how it goes. I know I'm just gonna pick swordless every time.
Yep.
And it's gonna be great. I did a swordless Key Sanity the other day, and it kicked my butt. It wasn't worth it.
I think Swordless
actually-
is the best version of the game, in my opinion.
Well, your swordless so often in Crossroad Key Sanity that it doesn't feel any different to me at this point.
I think Swordless is the only mode that actually offers a mechanical challenge when Randomizer isn't involved.
I
agree.
The fact that Bugnet actually has some value for once.
Also true.
Like, if I get to Aga 2 and I don't have Bugnet, I'm like, ah, crap, I gotta do hammer strats on this guy. Like, you really have to sit down and practice that fight because the timing is so awkward, and you're always going to get hit at least once when you're fighting unless you can kind of like desync them or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for inverted. I'm excited for more swordless. I'm excited. I like this concept of swapping up stuff and not just doing only open or only standard. And I really hope this is going to be the new standard for all the tournaments that they do. And then, you know, there's a lot of people chiming in and saying, hey, can we get entrance in there at some point? And who knows, maybe we'll get entrance at some point as well. And then everybody can get involved and have a party.
I think it's interesting. I like the idea in principle of you know, having a tournament format that actually covers the randomizer. You know, with a little bit more completion, a little bit more completely covering it. But at the same time, some of those modes, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see. Some of them have a lot more swing in matches than others, and it'll be very interesting to see how that affects things.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the Hammer Aga 2, and it brings back a horrible memory. I didn't know the Aga bouncy balls were a thing, but it happened in an Randomizer scene, an Randomizer entrance scene, where I climbed GT with a sword, and I discovered that bouncy balls were on. That was horrifying.
So, I actually haven't seen it. What does it do? Like,
it's literally like the most jarring thing. Because think of these Ocarina of Time fight of bouncing the ball back and forth.
Oh, that's what you have to do?
It happens at entirely random. Now do that with the hammer, and it's awkward hitting angle.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
That's terrible.
Kind of awful, but awesome. I need to try that out. All right.
It was actually terrible. I survived with half a heart.
That's pretty good. Oh man, we did see there was a red mail in the top of the gauntlet.
There was a blue mail?
There was a mail.
Yeah. Graveyard Legend, mini Mulder, and mini Hole Server, because I wanted a sword.
I'd just like to take a second here to give a hot shout out to Michael K. For doing what needed to be done on the Moldorn 2 chest there, and
Big fan.
not opening it. Much appreciated.
Oh, there was a mail upgrade at the top of GT. I just didn't get. Okay, great.
It's okay. You only almost died to Ganon. That's
I froze for a second there because
we saw we were
him. I was like, oh, I should probably not move because I'm not dead standing here, and I want to continue being not dead. I had a fairy, but whatever.
I was having a bit of
I got
So,
hit him once when I was doing Master Sword Symbols. Step it up! Something.
some nice net dashes.
Yeah,
And
going
for Michael.
going
So
pretty well.
you know, this is your life on swordless mode. That's what it looks like. If you find the bug net, of course.
Yeah.
I also like the seeds that are forced bug net Agate Tower.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
those are
that's
fun.
so cool. And stupid at the same, mostly stupid, but it's cool too.
Mostly
way,
stupid.
Shoutouts to House of Darkness, of course, having the big key in the back of Dark Maze when I actually was in go mode.
Mm-hmm. Pod, one of those dungeons that could either be the quickest of go modes or the worst and make you do all of it. Though I guess it worked out for you because you were still kind of looking for a weapon upgrade.
Not that I got one.
Not that you got one, but at the same time, you're like, well, if I'm gonna go ahead and look for this big key forever, I might as well hopefully pick up a sword. The question is, where the heck was the cape? What did we not see? Because Michael did a lot of extra stuff, but still didn't find it, so maybe that's on, like, Sahasrara or something.
Oh, just right side GT.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of GT we didn't see.
I was so happy to find that fire rod.
Yeah, lucky you. I did left side swamp first. Let's just add that to the stack.
I mean, it worked out efficiently, so you didn't have to double dip swamp or like get big key in the back to go back to check the big chest. So if you were gonna full clear swamp, that was probably the best way, the best layout for it.
Yep, no question.
And you got your heart piece out of the big chest. Like, that's a win-win.
Yay! And I screwed up that. I did like everything wrong. See, execution was.
I thought, other than the mini Moldorn and dashing around without a sword, those like missing the bomb jump in Spec Cave and then like trying to dash south and running into multiple Moldorn. It was mostly just the mini Moldorns that were giving you trouble this seed, I think.
Somehow I managed to get 2 out of 3 of the ones in Spiral Cave, so that was okay.
There you go.
I hate hitting those things. It's the worst experience.
Michael,
Oh baby, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
He's got a fairy.
he's goofing now.
We'll say this about Soul Displode in general.
He just
though.
bow dashed right into Ganon. Like, come on, just finish the game.
Look,
Please.
I support bow
I
dashes
don't.
in every
Well, okay.
situation.
No, never mind.
It's part of my if you're gonna subscribe to my newsletter, you're gonna see a lot of articles about bow dashing because it's the most important skill in the game.
If he's gonna bow dash into Ganon, but not bow dash into the Triforce room, what's the?
I mean, you're hardly living if you don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was sad nobody bow dashed in the GT Spike room too. I felt personally disrespected if I'm being honest.
Wow,
Got
that's
him.
it. Got him. GG's to Michael K. We haven't been reading any of these up, but that's okay. Michael K comes in 14th place at the time, 205.13.
Oh baby.
Could go through the list, but I'm good. People,
Alrighty
well,
then.
you guys know where to find it.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get Michael in here for a quick chat or Reno. I believe we still do have a little bit of time before the next thing, maybe. Let me just click some buttons on my keyboard really loud. But yeah, we do want to give a quick shout out to all 4 of our runners in this seed, finishing with very respectable times, and just finishing in general. This wasn't that bad of a seed, but when
that,
you skip one spot and then spend forever looking for it, that can get kind of woof.
For sure. And with that, we do have Michael K joining us in the voice chat.
Yeah, hello, and I hope I will never skip this spot again.
Was it a matter of just forgetting to check it, or did you like check it and thought it was something else?
I completely forgot to check it and never thought about it again because, yeah, I already checked the area, so I must have checked it, right?
Yeah, that's rough. It happens every now and then, but at least you eventually went back and checked it again after probably full clearing everything. But
well, I'm probably the only one that found the lamp and golden sword.
the lamp. Sorry, wait. Sorry, could you say that again?
Yeah.
I missed
The
it.
lamp and the fourth sword both were in Maya.
Yeah. Mikan, actually, he was one of the few that jumped in there earlier. Also found that lamp, which was kind of a good / bad thing because it kind of made you stay in mire a little bit longer. But then it did reward you with a sword. But it certainly made for an interesting, logically thought-provoking seed with lamp being there.
Yeah,
I see.
and the bow being behind that lamp.
Yeah. You were actually, I think you were our 3rd runner on the restream to get that bow. And
Yeah, I think that's correct.
we're on pace to like keep up. Like we're not too far behind the rest of the 3. It's just that Cane of Samaria, man. I think because you had finished all the crystal dungeons, you were on deathmatch. And I was really hoping after Tower of Hera you were gonna head back over there and grab it, or double check or did something, but that's it.
I thought it must be some weird place where everyone else went first or something, so yeah, I was the next thing.
Yeah, it happens. Well,
Yep.
GG's, you finished. I mean, you full clear the game and only finished with 205. It's still, respectable. The goal, of course, is always to aim for like sub 2 in general, but just being 5 minutes over that is still not bad. And yeah, congratulations to all 4 of our runners finishing this here open mode seed. Any final remarks from our 4 about the seed or just in general? About the day? It's a nice Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday, right?
Well, I just want to say thanks for commentating, thanks for tracking, and thanks for the entire restream.
Hopefully people at least enjoyed the Master Sword Silverless.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shout out the devs, just for releasing test seeds prior to the tournament and just in general for us to test out. getting all the feedback in, and also for inverted mode. A lot of fun, really enjoying it. Hope there's more to come with that.
I agree. Mikan? Mikan.
Video games are sometimes okay.
Mikan, I'm mad you didn't guide him off. Can you go back and like load it back up and go
Yeah.
take a quick...
Oh, I did say I was going to do that.
To.
You're right. I did say that, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Okay, next
I
time.
let you
We'll
down, actually.
save it. We'll save it for later. Save it for a later time.
It'll happen
for-
whenever you face me in the tournament and you make me play swordless.
Make you play inverted. Have to go do
Note
Mocula with
to self.
3 hearts. Email.
Swordless Mocula. Great,
Swordless
got it.
inverted. It's gonna be great. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping in for voice and for chit chatting with us, and of course for racing. Of course, big shout out to both Danny and Wolflink for running tracker for this fine race, and of course to the fine folks at Speed Gaming for putting on these daily races. And one last shout out to my good friend Emo Saru for co-commentating with me. Good times.
Yo, and shout outs to you too, Lord.
Yeet.
Always a good time. Tons of fun.
And we'll see you in the next one. I do believe currently right now on Speed Gaming 2, you guys can catch the rebroadcast of the ALTTPR Summer Tournament Finals between Ajneb 174 and Gem. Next up, we do have some Ori Randomizer and some Donkey Kong Country All Stage Tournament, as well as some Portal in a few hours from now. So go find you something to watch, grab some snacks. It's going to be good. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Good one.